This part of view of yourself is important about personal, business, community, fitness, nutrition, spiritual. This is to start will be important for the next things we will see. Yeah, sure. Ruben, can you ask him to turn off the lights this in front? Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, just try. No problem.
Okay. Right yesterday. Oh, this all off.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
That's
Oh,
much
yes.
better. Yeah, thank you, yes.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Okay, well, continue with this. We have this. Be, do, and have. The way we were teach is to focus in have, so you decide what to do. And then you be. That's why people say, I am a lawyer, because they have, you cannot be what you study, right? You have the papers, you have a paper, a certification that allows you to practice law because you pass the tests, okay? So you have the diploma to be lawyer, for Practice law, okay? The thing is that think this becomes B, and this is the biggest confusion we have, and we struggle because of this. And the thing is that if we focus here in B, and then decide what to do, and then what to have, this is the path to happiness. If you focus in have, then to do, to be, that's the path for stress. Make sense? Yes? So that's why some people are so happy, because they are what they are, they do what they want, and they have the consequences of that. That's why they are so happy. But most of the human beings today, they are oriented to have, because we think that the society would respect us because what we have, right? So we fight a lot and we work hard to have. So to have we do, and if we do and we have we be. That's the opposite formula. Okay? And that's, you have to be a good mother. Yes, you will be without nobody telling you that. It's in our instincts, right? But the definition of good mother could be very, very overwhelming, right? And also you have to be a good father. But a good father means that you are not going to be at home because you have to work hard, and that's respectful, right? Things like that. But, well, with this we are going to work today just in the area of B. That's the area we're going to be talking, because whatever you do, if you start from B, then everything will make sense. Okay? Okay, so we have to play with imagination a lot today. We are going to work with imagination. Imagination is something that we have, that God gave us as a gift, because we can build a world before we achieve that world. Or we can design things and then make it happen. Or maybe we can think that next year we are going to do a wonderful trip and we prepare everything for that. But then we go to that trip. But first we imagine. Right? So imagination plays a big role here. And also for the good and for the bad. Yes? Because 80% of your fears are imagination. Don't exist. But we don't distinguish in our mind what is real and what is not. Okay? That's why we enjoy a lot of movies. We know that it's act, but we cry watching that. Right? Okay, so imagination. This has a good, very important thing to do, because everything that is surrounding you besides nature, that is human creation, starts in the imagination from someone else. Your clothing, the chair where you are sitting, also this floor, carpet, the lamps, everything was first in the imagination from someone else. Also the whole building, right? The car you are driving, the euro you are using. So everything here was previously in the imagination of someone else, and then this became true, real. But God gave us this gift of imagination, but at the same time, He gave us the ability to transform the imagination in something real. Right? Without the second thing, it was a very bad joke. Right? And God's sense of humor will be dark if He don't give us the ability to to create. Imagine and create, right? So that's a place that we have. So imagination plays this thing. When you combine imagination with fear, this creates doubts. Imagination plus fear equals doubts. So based on doubts, can you build a relationship?
No.
No. Can you start a business? No. Nothing happens with doubts. Nothing starts in reality. And everything that starts will not have a good ending. Right? Okay. When you combine imagination with faith, with love, sorry. Imagination with love, imagination plus love equals faith. Right? What can you do with faith? Yes, you can move mountains, right? So, the thing is that imagination plus love equals faith. Can you start a relationship based on faith?
Yes.
A business?
Yes.
Anything. Anything you can start based on this. So, that's the difference when you have your imagination and you combine this with fear, you will have doubts. Doubts makes you be very confusing. When you make a decision, you are not like so confident to make decisions, and you are always you say ambiguity. Wishy-washy. Yeah, you're always in wishy-washy, and always try to hear from someone else their opinion, right? And you don't have your own image of yourself. When you practice love, when you start from love, imagination plus love equals faith, that's strong. Because you make decisions, you move forward, you keep doing, you serve others. Okay? So that's the start of this imagination. So, saying this, we are going to find first where fear comes from. And it's natural. Our mind was designed by nature for survival, not for being happy. The first and most important thing for the design of our mind in nature is to survive. It's not to be happy. Make sense? So, we are going to understand mind equals brain and body. Our brain and our body equals mind altogether. So, here is the first thing. The survival mechanism is inside us, is already there. And we are going to explain this from nature. First, this little turtle, right? Have you seen this image before? The thing is that this little turtle, in their day 0, they just came out from the sun, start flapping, or I don't know how you say, running to the ocean, right? It's very small and tiny, right? And the ocean is so big. Also, sometimes we feel fear in front of this ocean, right? But this tiny turtle goes directly to the ocean from day 1. And from day 1, totally independent. Yes? Total. Nobody is there to protect. It's no mother, it's no father. It's by itself. Since day 1. Okay? So when you see a big turtle, we have to respect them. They are independent since the first day, right? Then we have the mammals, this kind, that the deers or antelopes, when they born, they have 2 to 3 hours to stand up and to start walking beside mother. If they can't, that night they will be recycled. nature will make sure that that will be recycled that night. But if they stand up and then in 4-6 months they start eating grass. After they start eating grass, they are independent. Before that, they need mother's care. But in nature, they will be cared by 1 year. Right? So now we have these. 40 years later, still living with their parents. Well, in reality, that's a joke. This never happens. But in reality, when this happens, when this baby was born, the survival mechanism is there. What this baby knows to do to start getting food? Right. Yes, that's the mechanism. That's part of the mechanism. And the second thing that they do is to start looking for protection. And the way they learn, when we are baby, we learn that to get more protection is when you have more hands to protect him. Right? So if the baby smiles, a lot of protection. If always cry, rejection. Right? And in nature, this is true because if the baby is always crying, and we were in the wild, in the middle of the jungle, and the baby is always crying, the whole family is in danger. Right? That's why in that wild moments of human being, they throw the babies sometimes because it's what's dangerous. So rejection means die, death, rejections. Protection means survival. So when the first mother came with the baby and introduced the baby to their friends, to the female friends, and have this, she put out, and you can see the face of the baby smiling. What's the expression you do?
Smile. Oh.
That means protection. When in that group, someday when the mother cannot be there or dies, the others will take care of that baby. Right? That's survival. And we have that inside us. It doesn't matter if we are now in the 21st century or we were in the start of our evolution. It's the same thing. That's why here is that the mechanism tells you avoid pain and seek for pleasure. That's the first mechanism. It's very simple. If you were a dog and you avoid pain and seek for pleasure, you are a successful dog. You will learn the tricks and everything. Yes? But as a human being, this is not enough. It's not enough. Helps, but it's not enough. Okay? But the trigger of survival is fear. The trigger. That's alerts you. It's telling you something is dangerous. Right? So you feel fear because it's a alarm, alarm mechanism to tell you that something is going to make you experience fear, pain or death or something that you don't want to feel. And if you seek for pleasure, you will find food and you will reproduce yourself. Right? It's for reproduction and for feeding. And avoid pain is to escape for danger. Okay? So, but the oldest fear of there are many fears, but the oldest of the old one, the more ancient fear that we have is the fear of rejection. That's the first one that is in in the roots of our fears. This is the first one. We don't like to be rejected. It doesn't matter your age, you don't like that. If you come very friendly to me and say, hey Luis, and I don't pay attention to you, how do you feel? Bad, rejected, right? Immediately something happens inside you. And in order to avoid this, in the next time you see me, you will not come friendly to me. Right? You will avoid that. Yes? So we avoid things like some kind of jobs, some kind of people, some kind of situations, because we experience pain physically or emotionally. We experience fear, pain, that's why we avoid all of those things. But sometimes we experience pain trying to do something bigger than us. And when we experience this pain in our emotions, we stop fighting for something. Some people stop doing exercise because of pain. Some people stop doing changing their nutrition because the first days was not a good experience. You were in a detox process and you felt so bad that you stopped trying, because sometimes part of the process will not be comfortable, right? But we don't know that. That's why we stop doing things that maybe are beneficial for us, right? So we have this in our mind. Rejections equal things, so we avoid rejection. Right? Makes sense? Okay. So also some other fears related with rejection are not being capable, not being enough, of failure, stepping outside the comfort zone, also our success. Successful people in the society experience this to become more alone and alone, because the higher you go, the less people will follow you or will be with you. Right? Is the kind of eagle. The eagle, when they go to the top of the sky, no other birds are there flying with them. Eagles don't fly in groups. Small birds fly in groups, right? But the eagle don't. Also wolves, there are a wolf that is a lonely wolf that is the most strong and dangerous than the wolves in the group. Same thing? Yeah. So sometimes people don't feel like when you are succeeding, you feel rejection, but it's not rejection. Sometimes it's respect. People don't come closer to you because they say, oh, this is an important person. So it's like kind of respect. But if you are not ready for that, you will feel that that's rejection. And then you stop trying to be successful. That happens a lot with the children at school, with the kids at school. When one of these kids are getting better in sports or studies, and the others start making jokes on them, it's because it's envy and respect together, right? But if this young person is not ready for that, we'll stop doing the efforts to become better because of rejection.
Lonely at the top is the thing. Very lonely.
Yes, lonely at the top. Mm-hmm. So success is also painful sometimes because of that. But no, it depends what you want, right? So acceptance equals pleasure. Be accept is equals pleasure. So we seek for acceptance. Now we can start understanding why we smoke. Well, I don't say we, but human beings smoke, right? You know that, who of you know that smoke is a bad habit? Who of you know that causes, how do you say?
Lung cancer.
More than lung cancer is not good for the health. Yeah, it's cancer and many other things that happen. Everybody knows that. Also, people that smoke knows that. But here is very interesting. We are intelligent creatures. Well, we say that. But it's intelligent, but we cannot stop having some kind of bad habits. Why is that? The other day someone asked me, Luis, why sugar is white sugar bad? I said, no. Well, I don't know. Because I always see the sugar in the table and the sugar never will good with me and the sugar never say bad things about me. Sugar never attack me, so I cannot say if sugar is bad. Sugar is never bad. Coca-Cola is not bad. The junk food is not bad. It's your habits. Why you blame outside? Right? If you take the responsibilities, it's about you, it's not about the sugar. Am I right? So we're intelligent, but because we're intelligent, sometimes we trick ourselves. Okay? So in this case, why we start, some people, well, I smoked for many years, but the reason I start doing this is because when I came to high school in a different city, and the cool guys smoke, right? So I knew that was not good for my health, and I started doing this because acceptance. Yes? And when I tested, it was very bad. But once, because I did it in front of my friends, so I cough a lot, but say, hey guy, you are a macho. You are a man. You are part of us. So that dumb thing starts there and lasts for the next 20 years. Because in my mind was that the acceptance was something important and stays there. But the other thing is that you know that it is not good taste and it's not good, but you feel relaxed because nicotine and the smoke reduce your capacity of feeling. And that's why you feel that it's like a kind of relaxation, but it's not. So less stress and more acceptance, the whole thing is there. Right? So human being is the only being on earth that have bad habits. Is the only being on the earth that can cause harm to themselves for pleasure. I know that if I eat the whole box of chocolate, I will have a stomachache, but I eat all of them. Right? We are the only being on earth that we can harm ourselves for pleasure. No one else do that. Stupid thing. Okay? So, other fears. Fear to death, sickness, abandonment, poverty, and unhappiness. So, when we start relating this with pain, some kind of pain, or not understanding, or we have a pain in our imagination, we can stop doing things. Or doing dumb things. But fear is not that bad. Fear is there for some reason. We have fear is there for some reason. Okay? So, here is important. When we can have a peaceful mind, if we can have a little bit of control in our mind, the rest of our pillars will be stable. Make sense? So here is very important that we have to work more in our mind than in anything else. Well, then, this is a very complex balance. But we have mind, body, relation, finance, and contribution. Maybe you saw these words before, somewhere. But I didn't write their family or society because also when I was reviewing the story of Mr. Masuda, he says more relation and contribution than family and society. And this is very interesting discovery for me because when you say family, it's a concept, but mind, body is something where you can make decisions. In family, you cannot make decisions because it's not you only, it's a group. But if you say relation, how you build your relation, that's your responsibility. You can make decisions there, right? And when we say society, it's the same thing. I cannot make decisions for the whole society, right? So, but if I talk about contribution, I can make decisions about my contributions to society. Make sense? Yeah. This changed many things. Because we say society, but we don't do nothing for society. Sometimes we say family, but we are not there. We are